Neva was horrified to discover that her employer was mutating. She made up an excuse to leave the room, immediately packed her things, grabbed Joan's son and daughter, and got ready to run. But just then, Joan slowly descended toward them and sniffed her son's scent. Then she turned to her daughter, like a starving wolf sizing up its prey.
But we will be back in a few hours.
Fine. Just not too late, Neva.
No, of course not.
Thankfully, Neva spoke up just in time and snapped Joan back to her senses. Neva fled the house with the children. What they didn't know was that something far worse was waiting for them. A few weeks earlier, Joan had survived a horrifying plane crash. Over 200 passengers on that flight were killed. Joan was one of only 4 survivors. Soon after, Joan noticed terrifying changes happening to her body. A constant buzzing in her head, like something was calling to her. Even worse, she developed an overwhelming craving for blood. In corners no one was watching. The horror had already spread across the city. Neva never took the kids to the movies. She went straight to her own home instead. She was convinced Joan had contracted some kind of disease, so she called Joan's husband.
You must come home. Your wife isn't well. There's something very wrong with her and she doesn't even know it.
After hanging up, Roger decided to head home immediately. But when the cab pulled up to the house, he realized he didn't have any cash on him. He went inside to grab some money. Before he even made it to the front door, he saw something that stopped him cold.
Franco?
The creature standing before him didn't answer. It just stared at him. He knew something was wrong and bolted back to the cab. But the creature had already followed him outside and started attacking. What he didn't expect was that today's cab driver was one tough son of a bitch. The driver saw the creature going after his car, stepped out, and shot his head off with a gun. But a second creature came charging in right after and took the driver's life. Roger had no choice but to jump out of the cab and sprint for the house. He slammed the door shut and screamed for his wife, but he found that his wife was more terrifying than other creatures. When Neva brought the children back home, she found a pool of unidentifiable liquid on the floor. A girl's scream rang out from upstairs. They rushed up and found a body lying on the ground. Neva tried to get everyone out, but Joan was already there.
What is that?
Neva grabbed the others and ran for the exit. Joan tried to chase them, but was burned the second she hit the sunlight. They made it to the front gate, only to find it locked tight. A fully transformed Joan crept down the staircase toward them. They ducked into a room and barricaded the door with a table. Joan wasn't human anymore. The people in front of her were nothing but food. Just as they were on their knees, praying for a miracle, a creature smashed through the window with a club. They were about to become prey. But in the next second, a man in black appeared out of nowhere and took out both vampires in a flash. Seeing survivors, Satrakian spoke up. He carefully examined the boy's body to make sure no one was injured, because a wound meant infection. He also comforted the terrified girl. After checking both children, Neva rushed to take the children and leave, but Satrakian stopped her daughter, and then he killed her on the spot.
Do not touch her. She's corrupt.